Hi, welcome to the GeoBlacklight Earthworks Sprint 1 and 2 demos. We're going to talk a little bit about the start of the project and some of the things we've worked on in the past few weeks. First off, to start out, we've started collaboratively working on GeoBlacklight with several partners, including MIT libraries and Princeton libraries. In addition, James Cook University Research Center is also interested in GeoBlacklight and has been commenting and contributing in that way to the project. Earthworks is Stanford University Library's implementation of GeoBlacklight, and we've started working on that as well and have that deployed. We wanted to share a few details about the projects. We're currently doing continuous integration builds on that, so we can make sure that our tests are passing as we develop the project. And we're also tracking code coverage on both projects, so we have a good idea of how well covered our code is. And so I wanted to first share here with you Earthworks, which is Stanford's implementation of GeoBlacklight, and some added functionality that we've created in the past few weeks. So this is actually deployed on servers here at Stanford, and this is the current homepage. We've been doing a lot of work around design of the homepage and getting feedback from the community as well as our designers here at Stanford. Here's a screenshot of concepts for our homepage that we're looking to integrate. It features a large search area at the top, followed by faceted navigation elements. So I can click onto a popular category for the application, as well as a spatial search area to kick off the spatial search. So speaking of spatial search, we wanted to demo that. One of the first things we do is I can zoom into a location here, click the search button, and immediately get results that are located in this location. I get these from a lot of different institutions. We're using the Open GeoPortal federated metadata catalog here. And we have a ranking algorithm that ranks resources that are closest to the spatial search that I've given higher than ones that are not. I still have the ability to do my text-based search in addition to the spatial search. And I can also use facets to help me narrow down what I'm looking for here as well. One big thing that we've integrated in the past 2 weeks is authorization. So we've done this at GeoBlacklight on the GeoBlacklight application, but make sure that it works for all three initial partner institutions: MIT, Princeton, and Stanford. So you can see in the upper right-hand corner here, I'm logged in with my Stanford ID. Let me log out real quick. So I'm going to go back to my search results page. Well, I had a little blip there. So I'm going to go back to my search results page here. And I'm going to look at some of the Stanford data that's restricted. So we can see if the data layer is restricted by the lock icon here. We can also tell what institution it comes from this icon font we've added, and then we can see what type of data it is. I'm going to pull up this polygon boundaries data layer here, and we see that it's restricted. And so on the restricted data, I see a bounding box of where this data is actually at, but I actually can't view the data because it's restricted. So I'm prompted here on the right-hand side to log in and view, log in so I can view and download the data. So if I log in there, I'm now logged in as my user, my Stanford user, PJ Reed, and now I have the option to actually download this layer. So one other function that I wanted to share with you was we've added in the ability to change the opacity of a layer in here. And so that when I have a layer actually on the page here, it will be able to change the layer opacity and view it with this handy widget here on the left-hand side. So that's all I have to share, and I'm going to pass it over to Darren now.
Okay, the first thing I wanted to show was that we've been working on a backlog of 1,000 different GIS layers. And let me log in here first. And it comes from about 12 different collections. And you can see here, let me just, these are all restricted here. But if you go in, I don't know what's going on with that. You can see, in this case, this is a point layer data set, and I can do inspection on these different nodes to see what, this is economic data, and I can see the economic data here that's associated with that particular point. So we have 1,023 layers here in the system. Let me start over. And one of them, if I look here at the Stanford, we can see that we have about 1,000 restricted layers and some public layers. So these layers are all ones that you can see. And we have some maps of Africa that have been geo-rectified here by our staff. And you can see these are historic maps that have been digitized and then geo-rectified. So the tiling here works for that. This is also an RGB image. So the raster style for these have all been set through automation. So for instance, this has values from 0 to 1, and the raster style accommodates that, whereas the other Maps of Africa one is just a regular color image, and that the automation adapts to that. So there's automation that's behind all the loading of all these layers. Let's see, there's also different formats that you can look at. The ArcGrid format. Let's see if I can find a good one here. So this is another one that has, this is a bathymetry layer, I believe. And you can drill in here, and this is, again, the style is all automatically done. Let me search for color. Take off the format. Yeah, so in this case here, this is also a scientific data set on, in this case, it's the ascension slope that is in this Monterey area. And finally, we've been working on this project to share metadata with other institutions, and we've created this OpenGeo metadata GitHub repository. And in there, all of these 1,000 layers are inside of this geo repository here. So if I look at one particular object, you can see that the metadata is available in a variety of different formats. So there's the preview image for it. I can look at the ISO XML data and so forth. So the idea here is that a person can come through and try to harvest all this metadata, and they can do it through all these different formats. So here there's 1,000 layers or so. These are the unique identifiers, and these are different metadata formats and metadata standards and formats that in which you can view it. And stop.